To kind of create an environment that was making seafood fun and sexy, basically. It's the last wild form of food, if you think about it. So it's incredibly important that people actually look at how they're choosing their seafood. But number two are the fishing methods and the way that we actually procure that seafood affecting the surrounding ecosystem. Everything from the ocean floor to the marine biodiversity of the entire ecosystem. So in the end, it's actually about promoting people to eat more seafood because it's so healthy. Funny enough, food that we eat, terrestrial farming, has a worse effect on the ocean when done wrong than actually unsustainable seafood, but that's a whole other conversation. But we want people to eat more seafood because it's so healthy, because of the economic effect that it has on our local fishing community, and because of the fact that the ocean can replenish itself with all this great food source. But we want them to eat the right types of seafood so that generations to come can still continue to enjoy the delicacy of our last wild food. So customers don't care about sustainable seafood. At the end of the day, I'll be honest, look, I came in here, I was an idealist. I thought, okay, I can open up a restaurant and just tell everybody about why sustainable seafood is important. They didn't care. All they wanted was a good piece of fish at a good price. So people go out to eat for convenience, price, quality, and at the bottom of that list, maybe, is the eco-conscious or social consciousness of what they eat. So what we realized was that there was a connection between sustainable seafood and quality seafood. Sustainable seafood that's caught in an incredibly well-managed manner, is always higher quality. And it kind of goes along that artisanal role, right? And I use the perfect example of tuna, all right? Tuna, when you catch it in these big nets, starts thrashing, and it takes hours to bring these nets up. As the tuna's thrashing, it's releasing lactic acid into the muscles, and it's breaking the meat down. And that's when you get that number 2 grade tuna. Now think about tuna that's caught pole and troll individually from the water right onto the boat, no bycatch, okay? So incredibly sustainable. And it's immediately shocked, stunned, and then it's processed. That's a really high quality fish, and it's also sustainable because there's no bycatch. Whereas in those nets you get sea turtles, dolphins, all the other marine life. So sustainable seafood is actually higher quality, and that's why we have our campaign. It's called Sustainable Taste Better. So if we connected kind of number 1 and number 5 on people's list, then we got them to be more aware. To learn more about sustainable seafood yourself, you can check out the Monterey Bay Aquarium Seafood Watch program. The Aquarium in the Pacific has a great program, Seafood for the Future. If you just Google sustainable seafood, there'll be tons of awareness programs out there, World Wildlife Foundation. But the kind of a couple tips that you can just learn right off the bat is, number 1, when you buy U.S. seafood, you're guaranteed that it's being caught in a sustainable manner. It falls within a regulatory framework. So we have to manage our oceans. That's part of the Magnuson-Stevenson Act. So the government's like, look, if you are fishing in U.S. waters, it's going to be monitored. So number 1, buying U.S. seafood. Other countries don't do that. Number 2, you actually want to buy some lesser known species. So species that we don't know about are probably more abundant in supply. Salmon, shrimp, tuna, those are the holy trinity of seafood, and that's why they're so contentious. A lot of the tuna's being overfished. So, think about diversifying your palate.